The news is out, and the Empire State is bad news, but it wouldn't really matter because I'm buying this euro dollar. So I'm inside this demo now, and I kept this script. I kept this the same ATR here's the same ATR per screen, but if you change the time frame, it's going to look completely different for where you can pull the trigger. So your last trigger pull would have been here to buy or sell. It would have trapped you on the sell side. I guess with the most crudest of analysis, you'd say, I think it's going up. So you're only going to buy these black bars. They trapped you here, but your sells made money. So if you were awake and babysitting the market, you could have got in there. So if you go down to the other time frame, now I've synced up the time frames here. It's news came out 20 minutes ago, and I'm going to shift this to the half hour, and you can see you could have pulled the trigger here in the half hour with the same script. Where here you only could have pulled it once, so you're gonna definitely have you should be long at least this button push here in this one. You couldn't take this trade, and you wouldn't want to take that trade. You wouldn't want your buy stop to be sitting so far away on a volatility thing. So your entries last night would have been. So the account could have more money in it right now, but what I try to do is be a disciplined trader, and I just put in buy and sell stops right here. So they trapped me on the downside last night. The sell-off here. So when we got below 5 pips on these 30-minute bars here. If I go to the 1 hour chart, so I diligently pulled the trigger here and got chopped. So you see this sell stop trap. They filled me partially, but not as bad as they could have because I put my stuff 2 pips away. So if you're looking at 2 pips for your stop entry, you realize that anything in here is fair game to start loading up. So the short or the long side, it wouldn't have mattered because you wouldn't have got filled on your shorts because you really never made until here. That also presupposes that you press the fucking button every hour, and the script's going to disappear every hour, and you're just not going to. So I didn't take anything off the table last night. I let every script play out. I think I pushed the take all profits key when we were, I'm not sure which account I did it on, but I think I let this one go actually. Yeah, because I remember this pullback here. I thought, well, fuck them. I got to stop down here, right? I was. So I let that one go last night in this demo account, and the ATR is too big here to put a buy stop. Even though you could say, look, you'd be up in that trade right now, but it's ridiculous because this is the better entry. Buy stop here, sell stop there. Maybe it is going to go tanking. So this is always the doji. I'm going to just be really crude and say anything that's small is a doji. Like here's doji's going up. There's an indecision. Are we going to go higher? And then they come in and they chop it up because you're coming into the previous floor. So we're waiting for the top of the hour, and hopefully I'll be out of this trade. Once these ATRs go up, then you're just done for the day. You're just going to let this thing play out. And if you didn't set your targets in the right spots, oh well. You can't pull the trigger now. So the only way to justify a trigger pull is to come down to the 5-minute and look for stuff that is, or go down to the 15 and say, I only pull the trigger if I'm below 5. Now, right now, there's only 4 buys and 4 sells in this thing, which makes it kind of, you're forced to live inside of a box of only a certain amount of toys to play with. So you have to blend all your own colors. You can't rely on having at your fingertips some bizarre-ass buy limit order that you know would be a great trade, but you have no way of executing it. Nobody to hire to pull the trigger. Nobody to babysit the market. So apparently what's going on out there after commenting on this, Akil Stokes, is that what he's saying is that you have to conservative entry. You get, it's weird. Like he's going to get in at the market, right? So I said, well, why don't you just get on a limit? Of course, he hasn't answered me yet, but why don't you just get on a limit, right? Isn't that weird? People are like, well, it's not a double bottom unless I, well, what? If it's a double bottom, if you think you're going to trade a double bottom, if that's what you like to trade, put your buy limit at the bottom you see. You don't know if it's going to hold. Do you know if that bottom's going to hold? Because if you do, email me on the side. So we just put your order there. Who can babysit these markets? Are you kidding me? And this is also presupposes that his stop is so fucking tight that he's got a 3 pip stop on that. He's got to sit there and go, okay, look at, okay, tick chart. Okay, got my finger on the trigger. Okay, no. Oh, I think we missed it. Oh, fuck. And this is what he says on his video. We didn't get in that trade. Didn't turn out to be a double bottom. Turns out they just took it a little bit lower. I'm thinking, well, for the Lord of Pete, why don't you just put a buy stop above? If you really don't know where the market's going, why don't you just riding it, and wherever it goes, it goes. And why wouldn't you just put a buy limit down there? I mean, buy limits in this system right here. So this one kind of forces you to practice patience if you're not a trend trader, which I'm being a trend trader right now. I'm a retracement trader. But I'm only in $200 a margin. Now, last night, when this thing was coming all the way back to almost the 10,000 where the count started, I was in $1,400 a margin. So I had to really press the button a lot. I mean, I did not stick with some like I'm buying a 1K here. No, I was in like 10K here. Down here, this was so here I loaded really hard right here. Pressed almost every button, like put 100K in here. As long as 100K, I'd say here. Then I scalp out, and I'm left with just this much margin, and I put some buy stops on the half hour to get in. If you limit your trigger pulling to this is the half hour meets the 1 hour, you're going to make money. Okay, you're just going to make money. I'm going to get out my best targets. And you have to have a rule filter. You have the small bar. Now, if you want to go with extra step and ask yourself, are we going up? Would you pull the trigger on a script that was written with a stop here? You already know your stop. Your trade plan's right in front of you. How can you fuck that up? But so my buddy who has never won and lost millions of dollars like me. So, but he doesn't buy lottery tickets, so I'm a little concerned. But then again, that might be a good thing, right? But he's my guinea pig, man. He's just completely doesn't see it coming. You can't ask a trader to do this shit. Oh, I've seen Gartley's. I've seen the power of Fibonacci. Yeah, I know, but did you, like, literally think that you were so, like, oh, I backtested it. Well, listen to the logic here. I backtested, therefore it works. So if it works, why wouldn't I just double up on that trade? But yeah, I mean, this is the conviction. Predict, decide, execute. Well, predicting right there, you might have a problem. Can you predict the next psycho babe you're gonna meet and how she's gonna you're gonna just have to trade more now because you're broke? Nobody wants to deal with that. So unfortunately, you have to wait for this thing to play out. Can't press any buttons. So that's why I have this other account with the limit orders, because it satisfies the part that wants to play brinkmanship entry. This stop entry stuff's for pussies. I know it makes money, but honestly, nothing against pussies. Alright, so that's the demo as it stands right now. We just have to wait for more news to come out. Oh, the stock market's going to open in half an hour, so 10 minutes. But this is where the tables could turn for this. In the 4 hour, you can see that you're only making these many pips when you could be making a lot more money on the 4 hour. Look at this psychotic shit. Imagine you have a script that when the market gets to the 4 hour for your 4 hour broker, I'd put this on a different, completely different platform. I mean, you could, maybe. I've not been able to commingle all these scripts and all these templates and all this stuff. It's been brutal. I mean, look at this thing. I don't even know how many, this is like 100 pips up here, right? 106 pips, about 100 easy. But look, you had to put a damn 50 pip stop on that. Because if you got filled on this up here, then you're going to have a problem. If you got filled on that guy, then, they could have, you can't see what happened in there, and it's not worth drilling down, because if you are a breakout trader, a counter trend entry trader, you just got in that. But you knew which button to press, which is the whole point of this system. So, after every trading seminar I've ever been to, I'm like, well, so what do I do? One thing with the audience, people in the audience say cute stuff like, so, and where do I get in? They're like, well, okay, let me just, come here. You're going to have to do something you don't want to do, and that's wait. And here, if you took all these trades that are underneath the 20 pip, right? Now, without writing another one, you could use this as your stops. Well, I'm running 32 pip stops. Can I get in below the 32, the 20 to the 11 pip window? You're looking for trade plans that have this risk ratio, this exact on the script amount of risk, because that is so important, because you can make so much money here and then here going the other way, just by limiting your entries. This keep you from over trading. Not really very much fun, but he's never traded. He doesn't even know what over trading is. But I'm going to have him open up. See, I'm not going to do the wrong thing with this poor guy. What I'm going to do is hook him up with 3 demos, because he's got 3 computers. And I'm like, dude, we have to diversify. I'm going to tell him right up front, we can't have all our money in one tea cuddle. And he'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I mean, you just have to take somebody through, anybody want to teach somebody how to trade, let's get out the goddamn fucking account book. What are we talking about here, man? And if these Akil Stokes and these Stapletons are all that in a bag of chips, why don't they have people hooked up with a $100 account? It's pathetic, man. Dude, if you can't make 100 into $1,000, you ain't gonna never make 1,000 into 10 grand. Oh, it's just not enough money for me to pull the trigger. Oh, okay. See you, bye. I'm sure that Steve Jobs and all these people that have started in their basement are saying, yeah, we couldn't find the right team and employments. No, they just did it themselves. So you just said life's a do-it-yourself project. But why wouldn't you just tell somebody, dude, we're going to get in with a 10 pip stop here and try and make 20 pips. Next trade, boom. Why are we going through this whole drama of like, well, you see this cipher setting up in my backyard? No, it's actually, we have an eagle. It's a nest in the backyard. What is this stuff coming from? Trading's just math. It's so stupid. And your broker's spread. So right now we got a 1.5 pip spread here coming into the opening of the stock market. So I'm going to come back at the bottom of the hour and see where it's at. If you really are babysitting the market, you want to on the euro dollar right now, the way it's trading, if you set this ATR, which I'm not going to save this as the template, but you could say scalping template, and it would look something like this. If you go to indicator list in my ATR histogram, if you add a level of 0.000 and I'm going to put in there 2 pips. You could pull the trigger between 5 and 2 pips if you have, and you could actually just fill this all up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you get your finger on the trigger and you're on the 5-minute chart, and you're either buying at the market and you know which stop to use. So if you're really going to babysit this thing and trade at the market, you like boom, boom. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. You should be in a 4K if you got 1K per trigger pull there. So this idea that you're gonna, there's got to be 2 kinds of traders, right? Off the floor traders and on the floor traders. If you're trading in front of your computer at the market, you're trading on the floor. So this idea you're up against the best traders in the world, yeah, you know what? if it's not disturbing you that you're winning or losing, of course it's not any different than off the floor trading. But if you're on the floor trading, it's one thing to look in the newspaper 3 days later and see that you've lost money, but to lose money real time, you're a floor trader. So in essence, you have to see a tick chart. You can see the liquidity. Now, if you go to the 1 minute chart, you're only going to get in when the spread's if the spread is 1.5 pips, you're going to pull the trigger here below a certain threshold. But you need a threshold. You can't just come in without a risk plan. And I could set these things to an ungodly like 4 to 1s. And you would set it to 4 to 1, risk 1 to make 4, because if you're doing this stuff on the 1 minute chart, binary trade like this, you're just going to be like sitting there with your finger on the trigger, like a crack whore. There's no way around it. You know, this 1 minute channel, you know, you're like, oh, go down channel. Okay, how long is that channel going to last? Get your finger on the trigger. Buy stop, Phil, get out. Buy stop, get out, get out. You know, only pull the trigger maybe when you get to 1 pip, between 1 and 2 pips. But you're going to be buying at the market, looking to make 3 pips with a 1 pip stop all day long. Well, if you're trading a standard lot, how you doing? Hey, you're paying a mint for the spread. When the spread eclipses your stop, you got a problem. If your stop is twice the spread, there must be a formula for that. There must be a formula for, if the spread is X, where should my stop be? Fuck anything else. I mean, if you're a scalper, forget this. Oh well, let me see where my next Fibonacci. No, it's just like hitting the, like right now I hit a buy stop key, right? But I don't have a. I buy at the market right now with a super tight stop and just get stopped out. Now, off the floor trader, it's just somebody that's just not going to be able to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just going to put some small positions in at night. But yeah, you can trade really super heavy when the market's open, I'm sure. Okay, the stock market's going to open up. You can get a big pullback here. They just broke out. They've trapped all the bulls now. But you'd have to ride this part out. You're up $193, so you're up $16 after. But the problem was with the other system, I had 10 keys running and I got locked out, so I couldn't even really. And I didn't sell. I just pure buying. So this one I sold at the bottom there. I got trapped down in this thing. But this is when I saw it all reverse last night. Or no, this is where I wrote it out. But you could have added here pretty heavily, especially when you get to a 2 pip. When this thing starts to go below 5 pips, and here you could have the hedge on. So I think I made a couple bucks here. I'm not sure, but it always depends on how tight your stop is to the entry. So if you're selling here, it's completely different than if you're selling here. But if you're selling here, you're going to get trapped. So this big constant battle between, well, how do I get in with, you know, out in the most mechanical way? I think it's going up, but let me get a way to consistently. And the thing is that if you have, you know that every time you on a larger time frame, if you limit your trading to the 1 hour chart, you only have so many times you can blow your account up per day. So you've only got, there's only like 3 trades a day. So here would have been your long, and here you'd be getting, if this, but the hour's not up yet. So you go to half hour for your, at the bottom of the hour, if we're below here, you could put a buy and a sell stop in. And you might put a sell stop in because it might just pause here and then come smashing back. Or you're getting the hell out in your profits right now. I'm just letting this go because it's not in as big as it was, and since my stop is way down here, I could watch it go down But I would know that I'm in so small right now, there's no way I'm going to blow the account up. It would just be like, you know, basically be a trend trader that I'm saying, well, I'm a trend trader now. I'm going to trade this baby trend up. So I'm waiting for the stock market. Stock market's about to open. And I know people trade with this volume thing. So I put volume at the bottom and I have ATR at the top. The problem with the volume is I don't know what size order to place, which the ATR gives me the size stop I need. It tells me the stop I need on the 15-minute chart. If we go to the half-hour chart, the volume, big giant volume here and big ATR. So low volume, low ATR entries. Typically the volume's going to go with the ATR. Although the ATR is choppier. The volume's got a nice smooth ramp up, and you get this major peak in volume here. So volume and ATR could be another filter, I suppose. I think it's broker dependent. I don't think this is the volume on the planet. So if you look at this compared to this, here's your ATR volume code. They're very similar. So I kind of chose the ATR because you just don't know here, like, well, if you go to a different currency pair, you might see the same pattern in volume and think, oh, I'm going to buy here, but your stop's too tight, boom, you're out. You just missed the whole move. And here you get the big volume here. Is this the only volume spike in this whole thing? And volume, of course, is goes into market profile and all that nonsense. I mean, it's, you know, people are, here's the climax in volume and climax in range. Another little peak, but way more significant here, and getting in between running between the raindrops by getting in the low ATR. It's 4 hour. But here, this huge volume there. Look at this big volume ride. Now you'd say, well, that's the smart money buying that. Oh, well, gee, why'd it go down after that? It's just so disturbing when people have all these, we'll see the big boys. I'm like, really? It looks like a bunch of volume there, and it went up. So, wow, it must be really going up. Like, why did it do that? I mean, are we ever going to know who is participating in this move? Can we? Well, it's like wouldn't even be able to help us now. Here it went up on volume. Here it went up. This is never. It was just big bunch of volume, bunch of traders. They never went anywhere. Poor thing. Okay, now I'm gonna put. So if I'm waiting 15 minutes to pull the trigger, I got no trigger pulls. I can pull the trigger on this one, and the ones above it, I suppose, if I wanted to risk that much. This just trying to limit the trigger pulls. Here, if you go, you can see there's only a little bit of chance to get in here. This is really the ripest area to get in, was down here. Okay, looking for some follow through here when the stock market opens, so I'm just gonna press all the buttons. I just put a 16K in there on stops, 2 pips above. Looking to make 32 pips. Not looking to make that much money, actually, sadly. But that's how it is. I mean, you have to take what your system is designed for. Big problem is putting, greedy targets in there. I'm going to get rid of this volume so it's just redundant. You can scooch it down. Doesn't tell me a whole lot of how volatile the market is. So if I'm going to make 24, all my exits are 20, 24, 28, and 32. But it doesn't mean this ATR has to hit that. It just means that we got to go up that many pips, which is only up to here now. But most of my orders will actually, amazingly, and this is without any Fibonacci, just picking a dumbass number, that all my exits will be kind of where we expect the trap to be for the pullback. You typically see, the old trap and smash. Okay, so this is what people call the kill zone, or where people put their stops, and then we grab that, take it back down a bit. And if these are scalps, then you're out. But I can't tell the stops from the limits. I can't tell I know this is my stop from these orders, so I'm riding this in a trend manner, and then I added here. If you added along the way here on these and just traded this one direction, now if you try to sell it, I guess you could say you never got filled, or you made a little bit of money. But this is defensive trading. This is as defensive as it gets. It's not good for type A people. People that are just pissed off and want to break stuff. Okay. 5 minute looks good here. I'm going to go for the buy stop entry like a gumpster. So I'm already in this thing, and if it just picks me up, I haven't got filled on a lot of these tickets. So a price breakdown, and see where I'm coming in on these to be filled. Now these all last 1 hour. No 4 hours here. So you don't have to babysit this. You have to check in on it, I guess. You do have to babysit it if you want to scalp it, though. So we're either going to smash back here. They've trapped the bulls on this breakout in the middle of the day here, or we're going to get follow through as soon as the stock market opens in 1 minute. But I suspect that we're probably going to pull back. Now this would keep us from getting filled on our buy stops, and it would make the timing, change the timing entry by about 10 to 20 minutes, because you're going to wait now for it to pull back. And since I'm not in a big enough margin to blow up the account, and I'm still long from the previous night, from the morning. So as long as this holds here, this level here, then we'll be okay. If we don't take this out, so it's you really have to ride it out to get your profits here, and go underwater, not be in profits here. And I'll get stopped out on the ones I just placed. Then what you're going to have to do is, okay, so here's the half hour. So this ATR was too high to pull the trigger here, but I did. So I made a mistake. If you call that a mistake, I guess, well, I'm just pushing it. Pushing the system there. At least I'm not buying up in here on these things. Buy stop here would be pointless. Here it would be a 2 pip stop with this much volatility. They could trap you into something, come get you. But you're basically, you would call it a trap trade because people that trade breakouts are getting trapped. So, but the trick is not to be on the time frame. In other words, to get the hell out when that first breakout burst is a good trade, or it wouldn't break out and fill you. It's just, when do you take profits on that? The balance between scalping and swing trading, once you do that, then you would be able to scalp if you can babysit the market. So you'd have that skill set, and then you'd have the ability to say, okay, well, the 4 hour chart's giving me a signal. Let me put my 4 hour orders out there, and my 8 hours or my 12 hour orders out there, and launch those on a completely different computer, so that when you sit at that computer, you don't have the other trade plan mindset in front of you. I don't think it's possible to, if you have dual monitors, maybe one's a scalping screen and one's a swing trading screen, but how are you going to monitor your scalping if you, okay, here's a big sell-off here coming, so we're not getting filled anymore. We're getting stopped out of what we got in. Go to the 5-minute chart. You see this, I could be hitting the buy stop key every time it drops down on a 1K here. So if I put in a 1K here, but I'm not, I'm just going to press, we're below here. I'm going to press all 4 keys. And I'm going to do the same thing on my other account. So I'm going to put another, I'm going to put another 16K. Now I'm going to put another 4K and another 4K. There's my stop stacking up. So that was the trap. They trapped these bulls. I'm going to try to pull it back and crush it all the way through the floor right now. That's the dream of the bears right now. Everybody has a dream. There's the 5-minute pullback. So if your ATRs are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you're a scalper. I mean, like, look at this thing. Are you kidding me? 5-minute chart. Look at that ATR. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm serious buy stops now. So now this is 5 minutes before top of the hour. So we got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're placing buy stops on a counter trend trade entry, trend entry, I just loaded the wagon on this. Basically now I'm in about a 40K. But I can do it with one hand. So I can have the other hand placing buy limits if I was going to pull back, or I'm trading another account. So you could be double clicking your tablet and getting on stops, and the other one you're getting limits maybe. Five minutes is about to be up, and as long as you're below here, maybe you're pulling the triggers, hitting the buttons. You don't have to overtrade it, although it's a lot of fun. Below the 2 pip thing here, like this whole quiet thing here, this is like, yeah, sure, if you got your target set to make 3 or 4 or 5 pips and you're actually buying at the market here in this session, you're making money, right? Like you're getting in on the 5-minute chart here. Buy and sell. You could just put on hedges here below the 2 pip thing. Okay, the volume's cranking up. So the volume's going up before the ATR. Maybe that's your system. Starting to get an increase in volume. ATR is going up too. Okay, wait, you actually see the volume down here. Okay, next we just completed that 5-minute bar, so you can't hit the buy button anymore if your rule of set is you only pull the trigger below here. And then you can wait 5 minutes to pull the trigger. So if you get in 100K every 5 minutes, right, maybe that's how you're trading it. So you watch the volume versus ATR here. And I guess you got to put markers on here. I can't really tell where the hell we're at. And the problem with drawing it down here is it's not going to draw it across the whole chart. Try to keep track of where this is at. So here was your lowest volume, lowest ATR. Big smash up there. Alright. We gotta keep going. Now, I'm not in anything because I'm very conservative, and when this Akil Stokes says conservative, my view of conservative is risking a lot of money actually. Very small amount, very small trade with a buy stop here. That's conservative. Like, I'm at confirmation. Aggressive is going, we're getting it at the market. I know I'm right. I know I'm right. I'm getting it at the market. Stops are for sissies, people. Right? Very funny, the mindset of traders. What they consider risky. Okay, now I'm going to hit the buy stop key. I'm going to put in another if they let me. Okay. Well, if we run out of orders, that'll be the broker's way of telling us that we're over trading. All right, nothing we can do. Sit back, watch the show. If that's a real breakout, we're going up. And we won't get filled on the long side. And I have no buy limits, and I have a stop down here in case we come all the way back to the starting gate. 5 minute. So you don't need a lot of data on your screen to scalp. Less is more. The bears can't wait to break out this bullish bar candle, smash it down. So we just won't participate in that move, that's all. The next 5 minutes it goes by and my ATR is below 1, say. I'm going to estimate. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2's down there. So you can't even see 2 on that. There it is, we're not below 2. So anything below 3 maybe? A 5 minute? Okay, looks like a buy now. Looking at my tick charts. Okay, I'm going hog long on this puppy now. Not going to make a lot of pips. I'll make it right up to the chop and right where they want to bid it to there. All the bears got their stops. If you don't think robots are putting stops up there, then you just don't know anything about trading. Come on, man. Alrighty then. Waiting for the top of the hour if there's more news coming out. Come back, see how it's doing. I'm not sure if there's news coming out or not, but it looks like there is no news. It's just going to be 10 o'clock. So I loaded the wagon here. I think I put in about 150K on this pullback on the 5 minute. Go to the 15. There was a 5 pip bar here and a 5 pip bar here, so since we were below the right around the 5 pip stop area, I launched a massive amount of scalps where you can't see it on here, but they're just 5 pip exits. I mean 5 pip stops, but more. So I'll be out of some of this stuff as soon as the market makes a move of at least 20 pips. I'll be getting out. This is my first exit. There's that first blue. I think I'm slamming up here. So we have to get this follow through now. We have to go lunging. Go after this. That has to happen. And it's just top of the hour. So time's running out. No sellers are coming in. Now we got about 9 minutes left before you get to the big speech here by the MPC member, Broadbent. And that sounds kind of suspicious name. He's bent, but he's broad. Is this one of these transgender people? He's a broad, but he's bent. So like he's a dude now? Not a lot of chicks turn into dudes, though. What's up with that? Okay, he's going to come out here, quarter of the hour. We're waiting for exactly 5 minutes before the news, the speech, and we're on the 5 minute chart. And I got my volume set down here. This is like where we dip below, just like when we get below 2 pips on the 5 minute chart. That's like a buy at the market or really tight stop to scalp. Now we're going to wait for this guy to speak. If we can pop it above the high of the day and the volume spikes and we get out of something. Of course, I set my exits pretty greedy there. I'm risking 10 pips to make 20 pips. on the pinky key, on the control 1 key. Control 2 is set to the like about a 12 pip stop. Then we go like 16, 18. But I really press the I press the wrist 5 to make 20. I press that key about 50 times, so I have a 50 case sitting for an hour waiting to get filled if this keeps going up. And then if it goes down, I have no limits, and then they just start stopping me out. So they could trap me here. I'm buying 2 pips above, waiting for these buy stops to fill. And if the market can't make it there in an hour and it falls away from that area, then there's no exposure. Sitting at the magical price of just below the round number. Maybe buying just above it like a goof on a stop. Okay, news coming out. And for this Broadbent guy's on the podium. He's supposedly speaking right now. The British pound is about to go off a cliff into the abyss of another 2,000 pip drop. Okay, well, we're just hanging in waiting for our orders to fill. Here comes the bottom of the hour, and this guy over in Europe's going to speak in about 2 hours. But amazingly enough, this guy, say what you will about the Broadbent guy, he's able to lift this British pound out of the muck of despair. So here's the monster. The funny thing is, in retrospect, you look at this monster wick here, and I don't have the amount of pips turned down here. I don't have any pip grid on here, but you know this is a major move. And this is what people typically do when they analyze a market like this, not realize how many pips. Look at this, put a line chart on top of my smooth Akinashi, and I finally debugged this damn thing. I'll tell you what, I was losing my mind because I couldn't see the highs plotted. And I ran that for years, and this is my dream was to have the color wheel trading system, but with the bug in there, I could never get it to work. So I layered up a bunch of Akinashis on here. Still bearish on the daily chart. Looks like it could retrace. There's the 5-minute. The trend line break here, and then you have your kind of like your opposite. You're going to buy breakouts here. So my target's up there, and then I'm out of this thing. This is another demo I'm testing out. This one's trading super big on each ticket, so it's kind of a less effort-based system. I'm trading a 11K, a 22K, what have you, and some of these were limit order entries, mostly stop. And then how long are these going to last is a big factor. So I have 10K on a buy stop. We're just looking to scalp it. But now that this color thing's working, I can just say to somebody, listen, the whole time this is blue, when you see this green on the other screen, just hit this button. When the ATR is below a certain threshold. This is your only instruction set. Okay, bottom of the hour is come and gone, and we go to the 1 hour chart and see if they can't take out the high of the day in the pound. And I would suspect that the euro will follow. So it's quite a creeper gear recovery from that plunge. Very creeper gear. But I love this color stuff. It's the cloud in essence. And I put the 1 period line chart on top so you can still do structured trading. You have a double bottom becomes a top in time, and you got blue, so you know that. And you got a small bar you can put a sell stop in. It's a perfect setup for that if you're going to babysit the market for this entry. Otherwise, you're just going to put sell limits here after it goes down, or you have sell stops there. So you had to take the risk of saying, I'm going to put my order at the bottom of the day, and people say, well, it might be a trap, but maybe not, because look where you're at in the landscape of everything. You're right here. You can't tell that. You go to here, like, oh, really? And look at this thing, man. Look at this plunge down here. It's ridiculous. Look at that. Man, the thing's dying to recover. Especially with this broadband guy talking. Damn. Look at him. Look at this guy lift the... He's probably right now he's handing out cookies. Crumpets. So I really loaded this demo here. A lot of this stuff's going to delete in about an hour. Okay, still banging up against this thing. Okay, wait that one out. Gonna wait till, gotta wait for 2 hours to make money on this.